Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Furs and Cyborg. Welcome to my presentation about making your world livelier, one NPC at a time. Who am I? I studied in electronics a long time ago, and now I work in IT for like the last 2 decades. I'm a sci-fi/fantasy enthusiast, and I do enjoy playing tabletop. I am also a JRPG fan, usually the old one, the turn-based one, not the modern ones. But I do also enjoy CRPG like Divinity Original Sin or more recently Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't set foot on an MMO for decades at this point, but I do enjoy them. Basically just a geek in his 40s. So, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to retrace the steps I took while creating NPCs for VRChat, from my first experiment to the system I'm using right now. This is meant as an introduction level presentation. I won't dive too deep into the system, not like behavior system and all the stuff like that that can go really deep into making more personal connection about your NPCs, but I will explain the core ideas and principle you can get to expand your own system and build onto it. For example, you might have remember one person I know made something that you might have seen a couple of weeks ago during the April Fool's Day with all the rats moving around. It was made on the stuff we're going to cover tonight. Speaking of the topics I'm going to cover, I'm going to talk about EMS or Entity Management System. That's how you optimize some stuff, AI navigation, and motion capture. I may and will probably digress here and there. I do hope you will follow me down this rabbit hole. If you want to go deeper, I invite you to stick till the end of the presentation. I will give you a link to a GitHub repository that is not yet public, but that's another story. But you will need to track it down. It will be by the time this video reach YouTube to some extent. So yeah. Why did I pick those subjects? So most of VRChat world, if they are devoid of population, when you have no player in them, they are like really empty. They are in some uncanny valley where you're like, oh, this is gorgeous, but it's so static. It's not moving at all. Kudos to the Ferality team, by the way. The stage this year is a lot livelier because there are some lovely creatures here and there. You got also a couple of words by films like District Roboto or Complex 7 that are really outside of that uncanny valley because they have NPC, they have life to them. You can feel something when you are there. You're not alone in a video game, you're in something more. Some other worlds like Japan Street will try to add life with roaming cars and moving objects here and there. But lots of big worlds, if there are no player outside you in them, they are just like gonna be airy and really uncanny. So I wanted to craft a world, that's the initial start point, where you could use for roleplay purpose in the context of the LPD I was in at the time. That would provide some background noise. The world would provide it. So it does not have to be necessarily made by the role players and their avatars or stuff. So you could have a lot of NPCs walking around just making it appear as a busy city. The first step towards that would be motion capture, because not every humanoid animation can be found on Mixamo or other animation library, and animating by hand is a really tough subject. So MoCap or motion capture, a generic set of tools you can use to record the animation of an actor directly into a rig or eventually other system. The rig does not necessarily have to be entirely humanoid. We'll provide some example about that. But you can find some pretty famous example in movies, like, for example, Deadpool. If you take the first Deadpool, the actor, the Colossus, was like being played by 3 different actors. You had the stunt actor, who was basically the guy you see on set most of the time, to some extent. You have the face actor, who just basically lent his face for the role. And you have the voice actor, who got all the voice of the actor, of the personage itself, and all the facial motion capture done for the work. So that's one of the, most complex one, because you had 3 actors for one character. All the navies, for example, in Avatar were done in MoCap as well. Some of you might have seen Bilbo and Benedict Cumberbatch being on the ground recording some of the famous line of the dragons. Stray, good example of not being done on humanoid rigs. They did motion capture on cats for the video game Stray. They did motion capture on a lot of other animals like dogs, etc., for other games, but this one is a recent one. You might have some connection to it. You can also find Monster Hunter. They did some really awesome mocap for this game. Basically, any good AAA games that is somewhat recent was done using mocap at some point and to some extent. Why mocap? So as I was saying earlier, mocap is a quick way to do animation, and most precisely in my case, humanoid animation, quite easily. So a couple of years ago now, I was recruited by one of my friends to do a skit for VRChat Got Talent. And during that skit, I wanted to introduce some NPCs to provide some contest for this skit to be played, so we don't overload the stage with a lot of players. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do some NPCs and make them move like I want. Doing the animation by hand was kind of out of the question. It's really complex, and it's work I'm not doing, because I'm not an animator. I'm not a professional animator. So getting it done by hand was not possible, and I was not getting anything I wanted out of Mixamo. So I got stuck at that, and I got like, okay, let's take a look at the motion capture. What can we do? So you can find some cheap motion capture stuff online. There is a couple of solutions I'm going to talk about. You can find them for free or for paid on Steam for some of them. You might need to explore more if you want more solution about that, but let me talk about them. The one you can find on Steam at least. So MoCap Fusion costs about $100. You can use VR. It can export to Blenders or Unity directly. It can do, as far as I remember, multiple users at once. Seems to be one of the most reliable thing, but I was like dirt cheap at that point, so I was like, no, $100 still too much. So then you've got MoCap for all, basically the same, but camera based, using pose estimation, funny stuff. You can export to Blender, Unity, Unreal with that one, so but still $100. You've got DemoCap, which is free. I looked at it a bit, but basically you can only export to Blender or to their own custom engine. So I was like, yeah, let's look a bit more. What did I settle on? I kind of made my own. Well, made my own is a bit exaggerated. I took some stuff that was doing what I wanted and put them together. So I'm a member of Helping-Hands. That means I try to learn sign language. I invite you to see the panel they're doing later. So using that knowledge, well, that connection for Helping-Hands, I knew they had a motion capture stuff because they're using that for one of their world to animate an NPC that is basically doing sign stuff to teach. I took a bit a look into it, and it was quite interesting because it basically needs an avatar that you prepare for motion capture. And once you're that, you're just doing that with your OBS camera, and you're able to just your VRChat camera and OBS, and you're able to just get the animation recorded like that and converted into Unity animation clip. So it was kind of doing what I wanted, but not necessarily exactly what I wanted. So fiddling a bit more into what the guy Lux did with that shader motion stuff, I found out that he made a UDON motion stuff that will basically just copy the humanoid rig bones position from a selected avatar onto a doll, basically just a doll. And I was like, okay, no, the next step would be just to add the shader motion stuff from the avatar thingy to the doll and to make a camera thingy to just capture all of that and be able to bring it out of VRChat world, into OBS and then into Unity. So this is basically the MoCap world I built. So you can see the two dolls over there. They're not visible when you're on the world. You've got the reference point over there. You select using the controls that are barely visible on the right. The player you want to track, you hit record on OBS, and basically you're done. You're getting motion capture done. So yeah, that's the workflow. You initialize the world. So initializing the world means that you make sure that the actor you're tracking has both his feet on the ground. That is necessary for UDON motion to work properly. It select, so it's gonna track it, and you will see the colors, the color pixel on the side of the image that are going to start moving when you hit select for one of the trackers. You start OBS and you press record, and the actors are going to do their magic there. They're going to move, they're going to do whatever you need them to do for your NPCs. Then once it's recorded, you export it into a Unity animation clip, and you can just do whatever you want because you've got a humanoid animation clip. So you might have some post-process to do for the animation. I will come into that there. So the drawbacks and the post-process you might need to do. You will only get humanoid bones, and especially the Unity specific bones. What this means, you won't get ears, you won't get tails, you won't get props, you won't get guns, you won't get any of that. Only humanoid bones. VSEMs, or blend shapes, nothing at all either. They are not captured because VRChat does not allow us to get that out of the game easily. If you want to apply it to a non-humanoid rig, you will need to do some post-processing, converting animation from humanoid to generic. Why would you want to do that? Let me give you one simple example. If I want to bundle some NPCs inside my avatar and get them to move while I drive them with controls on my menu or through contacts, whatever I want to do, I will need to convert the animation because the humanoid animation can only be used directly on an avatar, cannot be used on the sub-component of an avatar, which is going to be an extra avatar bundled into the same avatar, basically. The animation you will capture will tend to slightly dance and over. This is a drawback of shader motion stuff existing actually. The animation is relative to the world drop object. If you have the shader motion installed on your avatar, and if you're in my world, they're relative to that point. So that means the center of the target, the red target, is going to be the 0, 0, 0 of your animation. So you need to be aware of that. And as I was explaining, unless it's embedded with human motion, you will need to stuff it directly into your avatar. So I had the world. I made a proof of concept showing that the thing was working. So I got some of my friends to just basically do the action and the stance for me. And we were able to record everything for the skits. Sadly, I lost all the pictures and recording of the animation at the time, so I was not able to. I'm not able to just show you what we did at that point, but the final result is still online. So I was able and got the permission from the staff at Microcosmos Studio to use the portion of the skit we made for that. So we're gonna take a short look at that VRChat Got Talent. So on the short skit, you're gonna see because you're gonna see the whole video of the skit. I mean, what's left of it following the cut from the maiden. The police officers, or the LPD officers rather than police officers, the LPD officers you will see on stage are actually player from being there with me for the skit. Every other avatar, well, don't count the Jerry and the audience, but the bad guys you can see over there, they're just NPCs that were in my avatar. So without further ado, here's the result of a couple of hours of working.
Sorry, you were a bit too close, so you triggered the animation.
Beat him up anyways. I just want to see a furry get beat down. Come on.
We're going
That's right. Speed run!
You committed a crime of being a furry.
Step away from the mirror.
He's got a gun! Holy
she tased him.
Palpatine!
Holy
Oh god. Full like he's in Gmod.
Oh,
One. Hands up.
It's a super furry.
Drop the weapon.
oh my.
Christ.
Take her first.
Pretty freeze.
Oh frick.
Oh, damn.
So you could see a couple of things going on in this video. There is quite a lot going on. I could probably show you if you contact me after this event the avatar with all the animation, because I still have it. It was really fun to do. Boy was it fun. I can guarantee you that I had some fun with my friends. So what we're going to do now is basically I'm going to show you some of the animation that were recorded at that point. They were recorded for NPCs, but one other thing you can do with animation, and especially with humanoid animation in VRChat world, is play them on station for avatars. I mean, for other player. If you want to make something like your player sit in a specific position for you, damn, they're in the wrong direction. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, okay, we're going to be perfectly in the Bonaldi effect. During the rehearsal, I made sure they were in the proper orientation, but yeah, I kind of messed up, sorry. That one is on me, so yeah. Yeah, so as I was saying, you can get them to be played to animation controllers on seats, so you can have avatars, well, players, be animated in the way you want. Tu peux passer au switch aussi d'après. So this other one is also going to be in the wrong orientation. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah. I kind of foreshadow it. I talked about the Bonaldi effect on the slide. Jérôme Bonaldi is a French TV host who was famous for having his live demo just go not the way he planned them. So yeah. Tu peux descendre, c'est bon. Tu peux descendre. So yeah, so you can use them for seats if you want to have fun with the players in your world, or on your avatar if you prefer, or just for you if you want to replay an animation that was captured. Let's say you don't have full body, but you have a friend that has full body and performs a dance or something for you. You can just capture it and use it for whatever you want after. So let's talk about AI navigation. We're going back to filling a city with NPCs. I saw sometime after the skit, I saw a simple AI NPC using a Minecraft dog, and it clicked. I could do something with that. I could use it. I could rework it to make something a bit more interesting. So I took the script, made a couple of edits because, the dog behavior does not need to be the same as this is not the same as human behavior. So you might want your humans to, or your NPC, your humanoid NPCs to do something else. And took some free boost models, put VRC objects in component to keep them in sync. Some of you may foresee what's going to happen, and build a city filled with NPC. What could go wrong? Oh damn, this slide was supposed to be before. Okay. So someone said AI, not that kind of AI. Not that other kind of AI either. I'm not talking about Matrix-like AI or Terminator-like AI. Just if you want the short version about the AI we're going to talk about, think about the bots we used to have back in the day in Counter-Strike with weapon system and stuff. It's more like that. It's just a navigation system that will compute a path from point A to point B. We'll just get the shortest path from A to B. Basically, it's just that. So yeah, back to the city. It lagged a lot. A fucking ton of lag. Why, you will ask? Why? Well, those who know TheIvaen and the way VRChat synchronization works, they already know. For the other, the explanation are going to be there in a couple of minutes. A lot of that had to be synced, and that's bad. Well, like really bad. Did not scale that well. It works just fine for, let's say, if you have 5, 10 maybe. But if you want to go higher, you will need to find other tricks to apply. Because of the continuous sync of the various components, you can not really add any kind of other component that would require sync, like bands or other stuff, depending on what you want to do. And the nav mesh component, the nav mesh agent, does not work well, like at all, with a component that modify their transform directly. So, yeah, to get it to work properly, I had to first understand how it works. So I was able to understand how it works, to optimize it, or at least make it work properly. So you have 5 main component for the AI navigation. I'm gonna scroll down real quick through them. Well, real quick to some extent. First one, to install the AI navigation, you need to go into the package manager. It's not installed by default in Unity project. So you go into the package manager, you search for the AI navigation thing, and you just install it, and you will be able to go one step next. So the navigation agent, it will allow you to select the agent type and its steering settings. What I mean by steering, it's the ability to turn on itself and the speed at which it turns on itself. You also configure its slope capabilities and the capabilities to jump above some obstacle through the nav mesh. We'll talk about obstacle later because you might have different configuration depending on what you need. The navigation mesh. So the nav mesh surface component, the second most critical component after the agent, it's gonna host the baked information, and it is specific per agent types. So you can have multiple navigation mesh surface applied to different agent type. So let's say you have a city. You can have a nav mesh that enclose everything, sidewalks and road or streets, with different weights or cost for the roads and sidewalk. And you can have your walking NPC roaming onto that. And you can have another nav mesh surface that only use the streets for the cars. So you can have different nav mesh inside a single map and inside a single scene. So that works for general Unity as well. The nav mesh modifier. So you have basically two components. One is the nav mesh modifier and one is the nav mesh modifier volumes. The first one is going to be able to help you add or remove nav mesh, so mesh renderers, static mesh renderers to the nav mesh surface component. And so you either add them or remove them. The second one is going to be able to place a volume like a box in the scene or a capsule, I believe. I'm not. I think it's only the boxes you can add. I don't remember here from the top of my head. And that box is gonna just wherever it intersect in the nav mesh, it's gonna be able to add the specific cost to that mesh or modify the cost. Well. So this is what it looks like. So, for example, you have nav mesh, regular nav mesh modifier that will add all the green stuff. So it's the street, and the pink one, which is the pavement. And then I add a volume to get the sidewalks, not the sidewalk, the crossway, to be able to be at the same cost as the rest of the sidewalks. The NPC could prefer to go through the crosswalks instead of just crossing the roads. Now we can talk about the nav mesh links. Nav mesh links are useful because they can allow you they can help you in two situations. I haven't got the need to play with them, so I'm not entirely sure how they work. I know what they should do, but I never had to play with them. Basically, they can help you to bridge a gap between two nav mesh surfaces, and those two nav mesh surfaces can either be on the same surface or not. So, for example, if you've got a nav mesh surface on one prefab and another nav mesh surface on another prefab, using nav mesh links, you can bridge those gaps. There is nav mesh link that can do that, and there is also the off mesh link, which is the older legacy component, which is deprecated, and the off-mesh link does not allow you to change the width of the channel of the gap bridger you're going to place. So if you see in the pictures, you see some kind of translucent bridge on both scenes. In the case you're using the off-mesh link, it's only like a rope going through, and in the nav mesh link, you can specify the width, so the NPC will have a lot more leeway in the way they compute their paths. And then finally, you have the nav mesh obstacle, also a really important component if you want to get some interaction with your players. They will carve a hole in the nav mesh, or not. Well, they will put an obstacle that will prevent the NPC to go through them. So either they will carve a hole. This is interesting to use for static obstacles that are not going to move because they edit the way the path that the NPC can take. If you don't use the carve option, you're going to be basically able to block them, for example. Don't add one to the prefab of your world. You will not be able to. Don't add it to the NPC of your world. It will mess with the NPC nav mesh agent because it's not. The nav mesh agent already has its own obstacle for the other agent. So, understanding all of that, the first round of animation came. So I made each nav mesh agent properly autonomous on each client with a sync script that was randomized. By randomized, I mean it was randomized in terms of synchronization frequency, so it was not hammering down the network. I used the proper way to move the nav mesh agent, which would be the agent.warp command in Newton. If it was too far away from some kind of watchdog that was built in the script and synchronized over it. The master would be choosing the next waypoint, and everything relies on the master, which would be the owner of the instance in most cases. The watchdog is there, or should be there, to prevent NPCs to get stuck in the same place for too long. And using a player pool object, I was about to get obstacle on the players, so you can basically just bump into the NPC and prevent them from going where they want to go. So the optimization result with that, I managed to get about 400 NPCs walking around the city. You can find the world in the public world I have on my I have published. And if you're not having a potato PC or potato internet, it works quite well with 20 more people in there, and it's properly synchronized. There are only 5 avatars I used for the NPC, but there is a couple of tricks I will explain, I will give you, to make them appear a lot more. On that topic, I will also invite you to watch my friend Myrop talk later today. He's going to give you a lot of other tricks to optimize worlds and optimize that kind of stuff. So here is the result of why it goes going with a city with some NPCs walking around and giving some life to it. So the tricks. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to watch the video. Well, not a couple of minutes, but 1 minute to watch the video and try to find the tricks I used, or some of them at least. Yeah, you've got a mini map as well on the world, so you can see where you are using the player object pool as well. And the map is about 600 by 600, and there is 400 NPCs going on around the world. So, yeah. So now let's talk about the entity management system, or EMS for short. The EMS is basically the second round of optimization I started doing on the world. I haven't completed it yet for a lot of personal reasons, but I'll still give you some thoughts and clues about what's going on in there. So, what's the EMS and why I'm asking it to do? Basically, it's a central component that will manage all the NPC within a delimited area. It can be the whole city or just a part of it. It's responsible to instantiate all the NPC from the prefab and to set the nav mesh destination. Also, set the animator variables to drive transition from one animation to the other, like the walking one or the idle one or the whatever else you want. He is responsible to check the position against the watchdog position from the master to warp if it's required, and is managing synchronization based on the partial sync system, so to alleviate things on the networks and not being too heavy on the network. Why did I implement that? One update method is better than having several hundreds of them. Even if it's a lot bigger, it's gonna be better. No discussion on that point. Having only one component to deal with the synchronization also allows to reduce the overhead on the network and everything that needs to be synced. Yes, it will fill the RAM, but there are some tricks to alleviate that. My friend Myro talk a lot more about that. So, following that principle of EMS, I consolidate all the logics of the NPCs into one script that would apply to the EMS system instead of having one hidden behavior on each NPCs, which was the previous stuff. I had that partial sync of data almost there. That's pretty much why I haven't published the result yet, because that part is somewhat broken. I synchronize the customization. So yeah, that's the trick I'm using. I'm cheating, basically, but to make them appear as a lot more than what they are, I change their size, their UI shift, so they change the color, and the speed at which they walk. Just changing those 3 parameters, you can transform those 5 NPCs into hundreds and make them a lot less a burden on the eye and a lot less eyesore, because they do feel like they are different here and there. I also started splitting the city into multiple zones. So one area would only be responsible for a lot less NPCs and only be booted up when someone is in said area. So you would get a lot less strain on the network and only be synchronized with players who would be in the same network. Or at least that was the idea. It's not yet up to the speed, so yeah. Some consideration I have having about the NPC being able to travel between areas, but I'm like, okay, at this point, I can just basically do a super area that go all around the city. It's gonna do the same to give them more travel options, but that was not really the easiest way to do it, to say it simply. As I was saying, making a bigger area is a lot simpler. The area at the startup would check what are the weapons they have access to, so they can program the NPC accordingly. And the first player to step into the area would become the master of that area and be responsible for that. So that can still lead to some problem, but that's not something I have found let's say a sexy way to fix and to work around at this time. Maybe later I'll find something, but yeah, you never know. So yeah, this, as I was saying, this part is still work in progress. My life got a lot busier than what I initially expected when I planned this talk, and I didn't get enough free time to debug all the code. The partial thing is still having a lot of issues in some case. So yeah, I do hope I will be able to do a talk next Virality to give you the next step about this optimization and maybe more information about MoCap, because I will try to refine it. Some thoughts about doing that kind of MoCap stuff. Fizz bones, they are sadly not in VRChat world SDK, so yeah, forget about doing ears or tails. That you cannot do, or at least you cannot do it with fizz bones. You can use the old dynamic bones. You need to buy the package on the Unity Asset Store to do it. About dynamic bones, VRChat already kills them once they are more than 10 meters away, so you don't need to worry too much about culling them, unless you want to really pack a lot of them in a small area. In that case, you might want to go for a smaller culling distance, like 5 or 3 meters or something. So for my city, 10 meters was just plenty good. I just rolled with it, but depending on what you want to do, it might be something else entirely. Same goes for contacts. You don't have the contacts you have on avatars in world. They are not something you can do. You can track bones, so finger bones and stuff, and attach a collider to them and be able to track stuff that way. That's the only way you have to do it. Well, if you know a bit Unity, you will kind of guess that it's how VRChat does stuff underneath, but you have to do the additional tracking yourself. Some more stuff. Okay, I was talking about cheats, like the scale, the UV shift on the material to get more of them for cheap. Using load to basically cull them once they are out of too far away. So level of details. It's easier to rely on Unity load to do it than do it yourself, because basically the Unity is going to do it for you, so you don't have to write your own code for it. But if you want to get your own code for the load stingy, go ahead too. Yeah, using the load was good for me. You might want to check what my friend Myro did for his visitor in his virtual park. Suggest you go visit that world as well if you're interested in NPCs. There is a lot to talk about it over there. You also want to kill animators that are not used, because animators are gonna take some performance as well. So yeah, if you're killing the mesh, you can as well kill the animator. It's gonna give you a couple of extra leeway for doing other stuff about that. So most of the code I've wrote is going to be available on my GitHub over there. Is share, of course, under the Beware license. So yeah, feel free to fork it, feel free to break it. Ping me if it explodes. Yes. And if you ever come by in France where I live, or somewhere, just buy me a beer and we can talk about it. That's gonna be fun. Feel free to also add me on Discord. The nickname is basically the same, but without the caps letter. So TheIvaen. You can also add me on VRChat. Well, try not to do it right now, please. My DMs are open on Discord, so try to answer to everyone. Just maybe not instantly, but I try to do so. Some of the reference you can find useful if you want to delve a bit into that. So the Humanity Bond reference, this one is really important. It's only that's going to be captured by my MoCap world. It's also only that VRChat allows you to track. The AI package reference, as well as locks, shader motion, and Udon motion GitLab, if you want to delve into that is code. You've got the GitHub code for the simple AI NPC dog that made the first click about the AI navigation, and the video about the VRChat Got Talent. The presentation is going to be public with the link provided in the README of the GitHub. So right on the GitHub somewhere, you will be able to find in a couple of hours the presentation link in there. The avatar I used, so the famous Aulan, Tessa, Ragdoll version 2, an unnamed cat that is no longer available, sadly. I believe there is another one. I just don't remember it. I will update the presentation with the latest one about that. So, yeah. For the credits, those credits were initially written for the live demo I had in mind initially. Did not go to the plan for a lot of reasons, and yeah, stuff happens. And the live demo I got was not really that good, to be fair. I'm pretty sorry about it. I apologize. I hope you can excuse me for that. So yeah. So the credits for the 3D model not really relevant, as well for the BGM. Only the Wikimedia mocap image is valid at this point. Before we leave, I'd like to express my gratitude to some of my friends, Myrope, The Last Operator, Jesu, Voction, Omelette du Fromage, Free, Laurel Darion, and Commando. Some of my friends, well, a lot of my friends, and Uchiki as well, I forgot about him, sorry buddy. They had some chat often late at night, ideas, their friendship, their support. Thank you, Ophelie, as well, for being there with me. And also Happy Robot, who did a terrific job about optimization in U# last year during Ferality. If you have any question, now is the time. Sora?
So that they can actually hear me asking the questions for you.
Perfect.
Oh, and I actually need to I need to mute myself.
Ah, tu m'entends ou pas?
Je pense qu'on t'entend dans le micro.
Je m'en fiche. Je t'ai envoyé par Discord les skins pour les courses, ok?
Also, y'all can post in the Q&A
so-
channel. You can ask anything.
Yeah, definitely. Please go ahead. Giving voice lines to AI is possible in VRChat.
Okay, I do have one question. This is from the Twitch channel itself. Mute that out. Do you think getting voice lines to an NPC would be possible inside of VRChat?
I'm gonna say maybe, due to the way VRChat allows you to get outside of VRChat being really, really, really limited. It's gonna be quite complicated to do it. You might find some workaround. I would not recommend digging too deep into that one unless that's really something you want to do, because the VRChat limitation about not being able to build URL at runtime, basically.
All right.
So
There's a bit of an audio delay on my end.
Yeah. I can read some question on Twitch over there. About the VRAM in question, if you use GPU instancing on the avatar, it's
Right.
going to alleviate the load on the VRAM quite a lot, because basically the texture are only loaded once. And also the texture will be only loaded once because they are the same texture, they have the same ID. So Jerry, to answer your question, you've got Unity packages for that. You can also go for Mixamo. Mixamo is a free repository of animation to use. Just be warned, it is owned by Adobe, so you need to register for an Adobe account to use Mixamo. But there is also a repository of animation available on Unity. You've got packages that are quite expensive, including a lot of animation you can use.
I got a curiosity. When using any of the NPCs and having them like just fully animated, and you just press the button and go, how feasible would it be to use that for filming inside of VRChat to make like an entire population seem a little bit more fleshed out and just more busy than instead of just having you and whoever is in there for the film crew?
It's entirely possible. You can pretty much build in the world you're using a reset button to start again the animation and have them move on their track as planned. I use the AI navigation component, but you can also just use basic LERP to make them move on tracks like you would with a scripted stuff. Or you can just use AI navigation if you want to, and just use a static waypoint because you know where they are. So both options are entirely feasible, and yeah, it would just get some time to set up, but it is entirely doable, and probably a lot easier than to get 200 people into an instance to make like busy streets.
Giving me a whole bunch of ideas.
I agree, Deeple. I did interpret it as using generative AI voice. That would be doable, but still really hard because of the way you can you cannot generate URL at runtime. But there is workaround about that. But using pre-recorded line, just easy. I mean, you can use basically whatever you want for that. So yeah. Feel free to beat me on Discord after the event is over to discuss more about that, Sora.
Yes. Also, for anybody in the Twitch chat, we do have the Discord for Q&A is up and live. So if you have any big questions that the presentation didn't cover, or you just really want to learn more about this kind of thing, you can pick their brain right over there in the Discord for Virality.
Yes, I will try to answer them. I just don't promise to get answers in the next couple of minutes after you posted the question, but I will try to get there once or twice a day eventually. So for Versalist, who says perfect, he gave the honest answer, and it would be complicated in some ways, but combining that system with Moment would be crazy. Yes, definitely. I mean, I don't have the time to do it, but there is definitely something to be done there. If you want my inputs on it, yeah, feel free to ping me. I'll be happy to provide some tips and tricks and what I found so far and the other stuff I have learned in the way of doing that. So yeah, thank you very much for being there and being awesome, guys. Thanks for listening to the weird stuff I said for the last hours, and enjoy the Flority Somna, guys.